To be fair. Hello, Mr. Scotty. How goes the day?
It goes fantastic, Mr. Brad. How are you today?
I am tired. I just took planes today to get back to my lovely home.
Ah, so you're being plain with me.
Oh, I'm playing with you. So, how are you, my friend? How are you?
Ah, buddy, there's so much stuff happening in the meta right now. It's crazy. I'm doing some hype posts for the stream, but hello, welcome everybody. This is the Monday 40K Today show here on the Art of War YouTube channel, where we hang out and we talk about stuff that has mattered to us in the hobby around the world. It's a variety show, so stick around. We'll be talking about new releases, things that matter to us in the hobby, some meta stuff, like a bunch of different things, because it's Monday and it's the best day.
I do love the first comment I have is, Brad, how does the wagon ride when it's full of clowns? It rides well, my friend. It rides well. And the funny thing is I'm still on my craft world making it because craft worlds are my first love. We did put the clowns down quite a bit, and they did feel impressive. Right now I'm on the thoughts that dark and light are both equally amazing.
I like light and I like the Twilight Warlord trait personally. I think those are like my favorites.
I think they're all good. That's the thing,
Yeah,
is they feel
yeah.
really good. Even with the craft world, trying to put all the craft world stuff down, I really feel I would really like some Void Weavers in my life. Whew.
Oh, they're so good. Like, and they come in squadrons. Like my Ravagers are just like you're sitting there feeling left out
Oh,
because Void Weavers
they
are
have
just so
they're
much
jelly. They have some serious
better.
jelly here. It is a real thing.
Yeah.
So that's a big deal. I love playing. I had such a good time playing that army, even though it was like the first version basically of the
And
army.
it was unoptimized. Like I believe you and I talked about it like last week, and you were like, "Yeah, I just kind of hodgepodged a bunch of stuff together," and you made it to the finals. Okay, if that doesn't say something, like in such a well, like that says something. I'm
It
just gonna
it
say,
felt fun. The thing is
yeah,
that it felt really good. Jack and I spent a lot of time putting different lists together. Nick put down a list. Jack and I really kind of met in the minds, and we put down what we thought was the minimum requirements for a craft world list between the two of us. And then I think we diverged after that by a few hundred points. But there was some core concepts that both of us really, really liked.
all night spinners, right?
Shadow Weavers who wanted in the army for sure.
Yeah.
I really miss those in that Tau matchup because I didn't have enough indirect to do the trade game with Tau, so I had to be
Yeah.
aggressive. I didn't have all the Exarch powers that I wanted on the Banshees and stuff like that, and I needed obviously some different weapons like Striking Scorpion thing. In the new list, I really like a unit of the Shining Spears. You give him the weapon, so he gets full rerolls, and then you give him mortals on fives. And I was doing
You
just a
like
lot.
that? You like that loadout better than like the other ones?
Yeah, because I just want to bring a 3-man because I don't want my To the Last to change because I love To the Last in that army. The two Night Spinners and the an Eldrad felt fantastic for To the
Oh,
Last.
and you were playing Uthway, right?
Yeah,
Literally one of my favorite. Like it's so good. Why wouldn't you
the
take
Strands
Uthway,
of
to
Fate
be
with
honest?
Uthway felt nuts because you're like, hey, I don't want to hit by that big Melta shot. How about if I just auto six it?
Oh,
Uh,
because I have an invul. Oh, goody.
My travels did go fairly smoothly today. I did. I literally had to just run as soon as I got off the plane because if you come from Tallahassee, you can't get a direct flight because Tallahassee Airport is about as big as my house. So
Right?
I got off the plane and went, oh, I've got 20 minutes to travel a significant amount of time because Atlanta Airport, if you've never been there,
It's
and
massive.
it's basically a long line. So
Yep.
I was at A and they needed to go to E, so I had to get my jogging
Oof.
shoes on. But it was good. It was good because I got home quickly.
Do you travel with an army, or did you use an army from the studio?
Oh, you're just talking crazy stuff, Scary. They have too many models for me to bring models. That's just
Okay,
crazy
so
talk.
you use Studio Army.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
good. Well, like that, it just means you didn't have to worry about like your army
yeah.
or like
I
you
had a
know
backpack,
like
so I
load
just
stuff.
zipped out. That's the excellent way to travel on
Best
that.
way to do it. Borrowhammer is alive and well. And if you're going to an event and you know people near the event and they have models that you could use,
Oh,
it's always better than packing your own models.
100%.
Yes.
Zero
Yeah.
things get broken then, so it feels good. We are
Yeah.
going to talk about the Harlequin brokenness. I didn't play Harlequins. I really played almost all Craft World. I was around and we played around with. Quentin played the Quins a little bit more, and I think we had a couple more Harlequin games go on. The
Yeah.
Harlequins felt very, very good into a couple things. We didn't play a ton of them, but both I think that all of them are good, but I lean towards either light or or dark. Dark's just
What's
really,
the
really
fight lost? Is that right for Dark?
the
Or
fight
no,
on
so fight
death.
in death.
It's
Yeah,
if you're
yeah. It's
playing
automatic, right?
yeah, if you're playing a combat army, dark is just insanity.
It does seem like it would be
But
just so
light
good.
for me seems just a little bit more take on the entire field if I was going to bring pure quins.
At least right now in the meta,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
I did, guys. That was a big. I mean, I'm going to give you my mistakes, Scary, because basically the dice gods punished me after I made some significant mistakes. So I forgot about the position of relay for the first turn, so I didn't properly.
Homing beacon.
Yeah, so the homing, I didn't properly box out the one side so he can get an angle on my wave serpent.
Oh no.
And I had the rest of the board blocked out, so
Yep.
everything was in front of me, and so that was a big mistake. And I still thought that I was good with it. But I took the Phoenix Lords in, and I completely forgot to resurrect them, and they were actually
Oh
doing.
no.
And they were a big thorn in the Tao's side.
Well, 3 damage for phase or whatever. Like when you only do shooting.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
he had to use. He's got the burst cannon that just ignores that. So that was a big thing.
oh no.
So I
That's
also
pretty
decided to
bad.
roll no Strands of Fate saves. So I forgot to raise the Phoenix Lords. I made that movement error, and I didn't try to raise either one of the Phoenix Lords. So that was.
Because you were running Karandras and Janesar?
Karandras and Janesar. I will be running Karandras and Baharoth because after
Karandras is amazing.
Karandras is a beat stick, but Baharoth is such a shenanigans. He's a mofo that does stuff. He can bounce in either battle focus or when he consolidates. So he can literally run in, attack, bounce out.
And then leave. Yeah.
Ooh.
It's literally like a monster succubus.
Yeah.
On steroids.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Except
can go
for
anywhere on the table.
He goes, instead of 6 inches, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 60 inches. I'm going to go wherever I want.
I'm going to go right over here. Oh, you charged me and I interrupted you, and now he's going to go way over here so that next turn I can go here. Oh, boy. I can only imagine the amount of shenanigans you can do. That's the thing about playing Eldar. It's a lot of the times they have good rules, but they don't play by the rules of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, they do some. And the thing is you got to really practice and manipulate and capitalize on those, though. You know what I mean? So those are the big things they do in any type army like that. Is there any hope against the air-bursting menace? I really do think there's hope into the air-bursting menace. I'm going to be doing 2 articles or 2 clinics about that. I'm going to do it with Adam Lamb. We're going to do a little bit of math hammer on it. But it also comes down to what you do on that. I had opportunities, even though the game was very, very difficult. Tower definitely top dogs in my opinion right now. By a lot.
By a lot.
Yeah. But there are plays I felt like in the game that we were playing, I was actually up. And if I did things like a little bit better block out there, that was actually the game. And then getting those Phoenix Lords up, I actually was up by quite a bit until the rug got pulled underneath me. So I think there's always play. It's just that they are the top. Like,
also, I will say, Wave Serpents are like absolute money.
Yeah, the Wave Serpent felt fantastic in the army.
I've been running 2 Wave Serpents when I've been doing like my lists, and it seems to be just the right amount. Like 2 Wave Serpents, and then the fact is with Uthway, you can also give them like Bright Lances, and then that reroll wound roll comes in handy, or like auto wounds or whatever. I
don't want to put any extra gear on him because I don't want to screw with the to the last. It's the only problem. I have a little problem with the last.
Because they're like 150 stock or 140 stock.
140,
right?
yeah. So everybody's 140, so I can kind of spread it out to what I'm going to do. in that game. So it felt good though. I had a great time. And the thing is, I haven't heard about the Polish dudes. I have heard a bunch of people talking about how they trade really well. Uh, the Harlequins are going to play very, very strong. They have some shenanigans. I am a little worried about the not the mirrors, but the craft rolled into them and stuff. I think that they have just enough volume that they can get around some of their shenanigans.
Who?
So, IO. Sorry.
Who?
That's a chant. Somebody puts OH in the chat, I have to respond immediately with IO for Ohio State. But I just completely lost my train of thought with that. I love it.
We were talking about volume of fire into something.
Into the Harlequins. Into the Harlequins. I think that I need more games into the Harlequins because I do think that they're not the boogeyman or anything, but they do have plays into the big guys. But I think that
I think one of the biggest things is that especially that light, right? Like reducing like hit rolls, right? Especially into like the town matchup or especially into the Custodes matchup, right? Where you're like, hey, you can only hit me on 4s with your crazy ballistic skill of 2. Right? You can't re-roll hit rolls, right? You can't re-roll anything against me. And I've got an invulnerable save on top of that. Like the efficiency of these big, like hard-hitting lists at range goes way down, which then allows it. And then luck dice, which the mechanic for luck is ridiculous.
They just being like, oh, I've got re-rolls.
Oh, look, I got 6 re-rolls and I can use them all on the same model in the same phase.
Yeah, the crazy
there
thing
goes
is
my solitaire, just like
we saw in some exactly. We saw in some games with that. Well, solitaire we had, Void Weavers. Just, but the thing is turning off the rerolls is gigantic. You've already seen how big of a deal it is with the Custodes, and just having that on your small stuff means that things are just not as efficient. Because I mean, you see those Tau come out with full rerolls to hit and full rerolls to wound, and all of a sudden, whatever they look at dies. But you take away that. The maths change quite a bit on that. What do you just played some Mojo with your Dark Elder? I want to hear about this a little bit. Give me a little bit.
Yeah, so I went to a team event. Like I went with Stutter Scrub, which is a little podcast out of Canada, so we have a team that we go to like team events with, and this is the second team event that we've gone together as a team. We ended up winning the event. We went 3-0 rounds, and
very nice.
We didn't drop a single game, which was actually really, really good. But we took Dark Eldar, my Dark Eldar list. We took Crush Stampede. We took like 9 Broadside Tau, which is just a silly list. We took Faction Expert, Gene Stealer Cult, Dustin Henshaw, and then we took Custodes, which was just like Empress Chosen, like Achilles Dreadnought 9, like 3 Achilles Dreadnoughts, 9 jet bikes, which was like ridiculously silly as well. And we did well. But in terms of Drukhari, like into the big stuff, I played against Orcs. I played into Gene Stealer Cult, and that's always like a fun. The Gene Stealer Cult matchup is always very on a razor's edge, because if whoever like out trades the other person wins, right? Like there's this breaking point, and it just happened to go my way when on like a turn I just went all in and killed like 5 of his different units in a single turn, and then the trade just like went in my favor, like for the end game.
That's a big deal on that. I love that though, because whoever leaves the first opening is at such a disadvantage. It's just crazy.
Well, literally, I rolled and I ended up going first. I hate going first in Gene Stealer Cult, and all I did was empty a venom and like throw a venom up into the midpoint to get my bonus point. And I was like, that's my turn. Like I was like, I'm not committing at all. And I sat behind walls for like 2 turns until he started to bring stuff in. And I was like, now I'm going to commit. And there was this crucial point where I literally sent like 10 incubi, like 2 units of 5, to move in, charge into some units that he had kind of put up in my zone as like the trades, and then make like a line of incubi just to pin him in his zone. And he sent out these Twisted Helix Gene Stealers out at me. But he made the mistake of shooting a unit of incubi to put a crossfire token on them to make them fight last, right? So he grabbed a Kelamorph and shot the incubi, and I chose to take all my saves on my 6-up invul. And I killed all the incubi off. And so the Gene Stealers were like, who were waiting to jump in, charge, kill them, and then go back into the shadows, literally were like, uh-oh. And I sent like 5 little strife witches to go in and like murder them. To be like, and reroll wounds.
Have you put the Harlequins in your Dark Elder yet? Yeah.
So Harlequins, no, I have not. I'm really focusing on being a part of Team Canada.
And you're not going to take just the Harlequin Patrol and ruin the book.
I cannot, correct. If I take any of the stuff from the Eldari Codex, then nobody else on the team can play Eldari.
Exactly.
Which, because it's one codex, same as Marines. You can only have one Marine chapter, right? Because they're all supplements to the Marine book. Which means I'd love to. I'd love to have a Webway Gate. I'd love to have Harlequins. I'd love to put Corsairs into my list for the great secondary choices and command points and stuff. However, I can't do that until after the WTC. So my plan right now is to play my team list at events, whether they're single or not. I know my list has terrible matchups like Tau or like out of line of sight shooting Eldar, which is going to be very prevalent. But I need to practice with the list that I want to take as much as possible from now until August. And then 100%. Once the WTC is done, then I'm going to be flipping for that end part of the season into more of a singles list, which will then bring me into the LVO. So that's like the plan. And at that point, we'll see what the meta is, and I'll probably be like mixing and matching and just taking what's best at the time.
It's not about
that's my
it's I like it though. Yeah, to answer the chat on that, it's blocked by book, or for at least WTC. They lock it by, so as ATC operates under the same thing. You can only use every book once, no matter what you take from it. So and that also counts for anything that's considered a supplement. So if it doesn't just say Codex whatever, if it's a supplement book, it's part of whatever that book is, and you can't use that again also.
Yeah, it's also, I believe in WTC, they also have stuff like if you want to summon demons or whatever into a list, like that, you can only have one of your armies can be using the demon book to summon stuff out of, I think, is also how they do it.
Yeah, I think so on that one too.
Yeah.
Has Brad recovered from the fair and balanced tile? I've recovered. I never want to lose, but I do enjoy the process after a loss where I start to evaluate all the things that I could have done, all the list changes that I was already going to make, and how those would have factored into that. So I don't want to lose any games, but I do enjoy trying to figure out, how
not to do that again.
Exactly. So, and
you have to look at it critically though.
And you learn a lot though from a loss though. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't want to lose, but I do learn a lot, especially in practice. I do want to lose some games there all the time. If you're not losing ever in practice, you're
not practicing against the you're not practicing right. Yeah.
Well, you also probably you have some weakness that you have not found. You know what I mean? That's the problem too. And I don't want to find what my weakness is in my list or my play in the middle of a tournament. I want to find it in the basement. Mm-hmm. so those are the times when I want to find things that are going on. So I'm a big deal on that. I did want to talk about. We got an announcement. We got new Tyranids coming out.
Well, the code we knew they were coming out because they kind of had said it already.
That's true.
But they did release the Combat Patrol box contents, which is holy crap. There's a lot of models in that box. Number one. Number two, if you've ever played Combat Patrol, which is 500 points, it's 25 power level. An army that takes a horde is really hard to beat at such a low point level. So they just made a really powerful Combat Patrol box if somebody just wants to play with their friends. Like, that is a mean box.
The thing is it's just got such a volume of models, too. It's so good.
It's like 30 gaunts, plus warriors, plus a Hive Tyrant. Like, that is a nasty army at 500 points.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, I got a couple of these. They've got some decent value on these, too, I think. So when you're looking to start an army, I like the ones that really give you things that you're going to use over and over again. I think that's a big deal when you buy any of these box sets. Does this box, I mean, for a lot of us that have, if you have a ton of models, it doesn't make as much difference. But I like when I see these, especially when I think about people getting into an army, I like to see Combat Patrol, any box set, with the basis of an army, like a real army. You know what I mean? Not just a mix match of things that you may or may not use. So I think it's
Well,
pretty awesome.
Hive Tyrant, check. Gaunts, check.
Check.
Right? And we don't know what they're going to be like in the new book, but
But
at the same time, over the history of Tyranids playing, you're always using bugs and Gribblies.
right.
You're always like Hive Tyrants tend to be something that armies revolve around, right?
They got Tyranid Warriors in here. Small units of
Yeah.
Tyranid Warriors have been pretty good forever.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything new in the box, no King. There's no new models as far as I know, just a decent amount of models.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it seems like it's just a repackaging, but it's stuff that you're probably going to use as a Tyranid player anyway. And the cover art looks incredible. Like it's like the classic. It's a classic Hive Tyrant, right? With the Lash Whip, Bone Sword, and Heavy Venom Cannon.
I was going to say he's got a Heavy Venom Cannon also.
Yeah, that's the classic loadout for a Tyranid Hive Tyrant, right? So it's really cool to see that they're kind of like, showcasing the old school stuff.
I like I really hope that Carnifexes get a sweep attack and get put back into the game, because I loved Carnifexes back in the day. I just loved it.
Carnifexes are so fun.
Oh, they're so fluff though. You know what I mean? When you think like invasions of that, they look amazing. I talked a little bit about the devastation of Ball. I can't remember who sent it to me, but thank you. I had they gave me the video of the entire sky being darkened out and all the bugs coming down. It looks so cool.
There's this iconic short story that's like, oh man, it was in one of the first omnibuses that I ever read, and it was like the guard, they're like evacuating a planet, right? And they're because there's Tyranid invasion happening basically, and there's spores like raining down, and the skies are like choked and stuff. And they're like on a convoy to go out to like the airfield or whatever, and they get like ambushed by Tyranids. And there's like this super heroic moment where there's like drop pods drop down from the sky, it's like the Imperial Fists have arrived or whatever, and the drop pods open up and the bolters and like the bugs instantly just start exploding all around them. And he's like so inspired by it or whatever. And then like 30 seconds later, the bugs just kill all the Space Marines. And it's like, and he's like, I'm depressed again.
Sadness.
And he's like huddled in a little hole, like in the ground, being like, uh-oh. That is the end for me, basically, which is really good. Hey, Ollie, you were doing a live stream, buddy. What's going on?
He's getting in on that live stream is what he's doing. Let's talk about this little new kill team, the kill team Nachman. Comes with some things.
Yeah, that's the Corsairs. That is my son. His name's Ollie. He's turning 10 this month. So
happy birthday to Ollie.
Yeah. Corsairs. It's exciting, right?
I dig it.
Is that we're talking about the Corsairs now, right?
Yeah, the voice is. Yeah, it comes with the KSA Space Marines and the Corsairs. I'm actually really excited to see where we're going with the storyline, also with the push for the Chaos and the Eldar, because they've coupled basically all the box sets that include Eldar have Chaos with them also.
Well, who knows what's going to happen? I assumed that they were going to release the Chaos Space Marine Codex in conjunction with the Eldar book. Like they've been doing pairs of releases.
I thought that too. We talked about this a while ago because of the fact that it looks like they're intertwining them story-wise together.
Yeah. Like they're coming, they have a box set where they're interacting together, you know what I mean? They've got like...
I would say they got two box sets because we have this one with Kill Team.
Oh, also. And this one too.
Yeah. So I was really thinking, you know what I'm really upset about though? Where is my next episode of Exodite?
It's been 3 weeks, right? Has it been 3 weeks?
It feels like it's been 3 years. Come on.
I am that, I tend to be like a pretty big GW fanboy when it comes to stuff like that. I'm very disappointed. I'm very like I was like really excited about watching that series. You
can't give me that little teaser of 12 minutes of awesomeness and then go, nothing.
Yeah, that's not cool. they did like it was like what? They showed us the pilot episode. They set it all up, and they were like, "Here's the teaser," and then they're like, "And now you have to wait forever."
Yeah. Do we
No,
even have a date on it either? That's the thing, is I don't even see a date for when I am getting it. So
yeah, I
sad face.
very sad face. That is very sad, and I wish that they would get their act together. Come on, Games Workshop. I
Do,
paid money for this, and I like the lore videos, and I like the little like painting things, but like it's supposed to be like weekly, isn't it?
yeah.
Like, isn't that how it's supposed to be? Like Wednesdays is 40K to like 40K Warhammer Plus Day. Wasn't that like the whole like logo, not logo,
Whatever they would.
motto?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I found the word. But
Uh,
anyway,
oh, that's a good one, Andrew. I don't know if I could put that on stream though. With GW's increase in prices, what's the best way to fight back against this kind of rent-seeking behavior? I'm frustrated. Will continue to buy used stuff. The I've used used stuff forever, so I
yeah,
really, if you can buy lots, big like full armies and stuff like that, I look for used armies. I have the fortunate thing that I and that my home game store is the Bits guy that you see at all the big tournaments and Adepticon and stuff like that. That has all the stuff. So
yeah,
I just get a chance to buy just lots of stuff all the time. As far as people sold their army, and I'll just buy everything that they had. And you can get things much, much, much cheaper that way. Obviously,
yeah,
there are rules against the 3D printing, but if you have that, there are ways that you can do that. No one can stop you from doing it, especially at your home. Uh, but and a lot of these boxes actually have a really good value, especially if you can split them. Like, for instance, I just split two of the Omens boxes with a friend of mine that's a cast player. So I got
yeah,
kind of a lot of value for what I put into that. So it is very expensive if you're looking for those new individual models. So I would definitely continue to purchase used stuff as you go. The best part about that though is that you can actually do, especially depending on what tournaments you're going to, is as long as you make it the proper size. A lot of people are completely fine with. A lot of tournaments are completely fine with kit bash things. You basically,
yeah.
if it's not,
Kit bash or counts as long as you're consistent,
yeah,
right? Most places don't care because if you're going to a tournament, a lot of the times a tournament player will know the difference between a unit and another, and they'll understand it just by the name of the unit rather than like the look of the unit.
yeah.
Like if you say this is a unit of banshees, but you're using like a third party model or whatever, and it's allowed at the event you're going to and stuff like that, like they'll know what banshees do and what they're armed with. You know what I mean? They don't necessarily have to be banshees armed with that specific weapon.
One of the things about that is you can get around, and I do it quite frequently, is used AOS models are easier to get and typically cheaper. And
They
they're
also look cooler in a lot of cases. You know what
uh,
I mean? Like, or they fill the gap with a lot of stuff that's like fine cost, which fine cost is still like some of the worst costing, that you can get.
yeah,
Like,
because
especially if you need like a whole army. Like
yeah,
all of the what are they? Um the Exarch guys. Oh my goodness. Aspect Warriors, there you go. All of the Aspect Warriors,
they
or a
break
lot
too.
of them,
They just break too easy too.
yeah, they break, and so you can go into fantasy and go instead of Howling Banshees, I want to use, I don't know, some Night Haunt or some Daughters of Cain models that are all like coolly converted. And I just gave them all a splinter pistol or whatever it is. Like I gave them a little pistol to kind of like bring them into the 40K. So you did some work on them, gave them a ranged weapon, and then you can go, you know what? They're my Banshees now. Most people won't care as long as you put some effort into it, right?
100%. And a lot of times you
Yeah.
get a cooler looking thing on that. Andrew was nice. Yes, I am in Toledo. We come into the game room anytime, my friends. Hey Brad, your RTT list made me take another look at night spinners. Can just one do the trick or take them in pairs like prisms? I would take them in pairs for me. One, because of the fact that they're a great to the last target. You obviously have to make sure that you're making that in when you're making your list. But having Eldrad and two night spinners as my to the last felt amazing. Very hard to get to. And when you're trying to kill something, the maths on that say you typically do need the 4d6 shots uh, to kill a lot of things. When you're looking at
Yeah.
killing a full squad reliably, you do need both of them.
Or a vehicle or something like a
Exactly.
raid or whatever. Like you want
Exactly.
that second shot to be able to go through that second night spinner. Also, night spinners with the crystal targeting matrices are incredible.
Also, yes. There's a big thing on that. It's just they I really, really like them. And the thing is that they're fantastic on a lot of these different hammer and ammo style deployments because you can actually deploy them very, very deep, and then they move 16, and you can still fire with absolutely no
Yeah.
penalties. So,
I can't believe they moved 16.
oh, it's so
Like,
crazy. And then they fire
so
48.
much. It's so much movement. It's
You can
crazy. And
always
then,
just hit the
oh,
board.
it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you basically deploy very defensively, pop out. They seem to for me, they really get their value. And they can also do screen and stuff if you're not running them to the last. You know what I mean? Later in the game, they can come
Yeah.
up and push people back. So I do like them a lot, but I do think that you have to run the pair. The pair, one will consistently do decent and you won't kill what you want to kill, and then you won't have another thing to do it. I actually right now in the list that I've been building have 3 Shadow Weaver batteries and 2 Night Spinners, and I do want to think about doing 6 Shadow Weaver batteries, tell you the truth, and 2 Night Spinners.
So taking a spearhead
Yeah,
or
well,
double
I'll
patrol or
probably do
something.
double. I'll do double patrol. I keep thinking about Outrider, but I'm all over the place. Tell you the truth, it's just the things that I want that are pretty consistent in my list right now are because I've been playing the Youth Way are double Farseer, one Eldrad and one Farseer. Go in
Yeah.
almost every list. I really really like them a lot. I like the spiders a huge amount. Just having 5d6 for 100 points. I haven't decided whether I want to put on. I'm probably going to put on the blades on one of them, and or 2 of them, so I can get that extra d6 on it because it gives
Yeah,
you
the
the.
double shots.
So I'll probably put that on there. I really like the swooping hawks. I'm after playing test games. We didn't get to play it because that wasn't in my list, but Jack was putting that down, and we played a couple games with Baharoth. And after putting him on the board, he just felt like the shenanigan of shenanigans. It's just you shoot, you're somewhere else, you
Yeah.
punch somebody, and you consolidate instead, you leave. It was pretty crazy. His utility was really, really good. And for pure beats, Caroundress is going in on my list. And I love the scat bikes. The scat bikes were effectively just uninteractable. So 30 shots. They have the Guardian keyword, so you can actually use the strat. So they just hit on 2s. So
Yeah.
it's a
We're
big
just running 5 with scatters.
5 with scatters, just 125 points. So it's just really annoying. It picks up all the nonsense.
125 for 5 with scatters. That's actually really good value.
Yeah,
For what
because the
you get.
scats are actually cheaper than the shuriken cannons. So
Nice.
I really liked it. 36-inch range. You know what I mean? So
Battle focus.
and battle focus. So I loved those. I felt really good about that. The double banshees is going in every one of my craft world. Right now I'm
You running 10s or 5s?
2 5s because I want to keep my 2. I don't want them to be one of my 2 the last. So the option for it. So I'm running one with precision blows and one with the shriek. So I can do the mortals over there. And you can actually do dumb stuff if you do some little combats in the middle because it adds to the mortals each on the charge each time. And we had a couple test games where that actually built up. It was GSC versus Craft World, and they ended up in their 3rd or 4th charge by the end of the game because they had just been only picking off the tiny units around.
Yep.
And I'd like a 5-man Scorpion units. I've been in and out of them, but their total loadout I don't even care about. I just love the fact that you doom something that's a hard target, and that you go in and you're basically even on you go into Tau suits and stuff. You saw it in the last game. Put doom on him, and all of a sudden all the 6s are mortals. You know what I mean? And they've got a huge amount of attacks. So you're just here's a bunch of mortals and a bunch of saves. You can really start doing that chip. That's why I put in that Shining Spear unit. I'm just looking to barely chip. I'm going to make my Psychers a little bit more offensive. I used real cheeky powers. I used the take away aura abilities and stuff like that to try to do stuff. But I think I want somebody with Executioner, Crushing Orb, and be a little more offensive, mortal wounded.
Smite. Yeah.
Because besides Doom, I mean, Guide's obviously amazing, but just like Doom Guide and then Fortune's here and there, but I'd like to have just more mortals. I put
Well,
in
fortune is great if you're taking the wraith blades and
right.
stuff, right? Like then you kind of want the fortune. But you're right. Doom is like the main one, and then I like that mortal wound guy, which is great. And then if you do Doom, you could have a Farsi that's legitimately designed to do a psychic action and then Doom. right? And then do like the two with the stratagem, do psychic action and cast,
Yeah.
and then you can have one caster that's just like murdering stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
so I really want to do that, and of course, popping the. I like putting the helm on. The ghost helm is just amazing. One, you
Yep.
get undeniable powers,
Yep.
and
Or psychic action or
yeah,
whatever.
exactly, yeah, or psychic action. So it was a big deal because I used that um, for when I put down the psychic action for Eldritch Storm. So
Yep.
it was pretty big on that. And you get that extra power, then you use the CP to do an extra cast, so you can be a little bit more offensive. I don't know if I'm going to run 2 or 3 Farseers. Jack really likes 3 Farseers. I find it hard to get the points for that third one, and it also raises your character count like to 1,000,000.
Yeah, especially if you're taking the like Baharoth and Karandras. Personally, I think Eldrad Farseer is like my go-to. Eldrad Farseer
Yeah, that's
with
what
the helm.
that's what I've been
And
running.
then
One with the helm.
I've only been running one aspect lord with Karandras. I've only been running Karandras, but you could run the two. And then I run a big block of Wraith Blades in a Webway Gate instead of like doing, more little stuff as well.
Yeah, if you're doing that, 100%, it's a fantastic power. Let's get the wall
Yeah.
real quick. Hey guys, love the channel and the streams. I'm doing my first ITC this coming weekend. What quick tips can you give me so that I can enjoy it? Make sure that your game plan and your secondaries mesh together. It can be frustrating in your game if the way that you look at the game and the secondaries that you pick do not come together. You end up playing against yourself instead of basically
Yep.
part of that. And I think that is the most important thing, is to be on the same page. If you want to spread out, pick secondaries that support you spreading out, be engaging,
Yep.
be teleport homering. If you want to be
Yep.
focused on taking the middle of the board, your stranglehold and doing stuff like that. What do you have for that, Scar? Give it one quick tip.
Number one, that's the fantastic. Number two is make sure you stay hydrated, drink lots of water, have snacks. I take a little thing of Advil in case I get like a headache or something like that. Like you can just kind of take care of yourself physically as much as mentally. Like being up for 12 hours in a day, standing on your feet, rolling dice, thinking the whole time can be very physically draining as much as mentally draining. So take care of yourself in that aspect so that you can use that energy thinking about the games instead of worrying about, have I eaten, am I thirsty, that sort of stuff. And it just helps the experience and helps you kind of like enjoy it a lot more and take more from it and be more focused in your games.
Could not agree more. As for coming from someone that falls apart all the time, yes. Drink your water. Be ready to go. I'm going to go from the bottom to the top here. Dale, isn't it 66 because the extra gets the second gun for free? He gets the second gun for free if he buys the blades. So yes, but you do have to get the blade because it's a combo. He basically gets a blade that has a spinner on each of them underneath.
Nice.
A quick question about the mobile fighters custom craft trait. Looks like you can advance with heavy weapons, correct? I have to look at that. A couple of people asked me that, and I forgot to look at the exact wording, so I do have to look back at that. I don't want to give you an answer on that until I actually get that and an FAQ. 9 Wind Riders or Scatters, Martial Citizens, Black Guardians, hit on 2s with reroll 1s. Yeah, that's another reason to
Martial Citizens is good, but they are also usually just shooting at stuff either on objectives or around objectives, which means they'll get the reroll ones to hit anyway because you're trying to like clear objectives.
Yeah.
So they'll save you some CP.
Yeah, resist the urge to buy fast food lunch. It won't last. 100% on that. I do think that it's a big deal. I prefer to try to get myself. I either eat light. I do a lot of protein drinks and nonsense like that. But I feel if you get a nonsense lunch, a lot of times you actually feel worse, especially if
or it like bogs you down. Like,
yeah.
so, a lot of the times the worst thing you can do is like eat like 4 slices of pizza like in between rounds at lunch, and then you get to like your third round or whatever, and you're like, I'm so tired.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sleep under this table.
Exactly.
Let's see. Hi, all guys. Thanks for the live. You're welcome. I got a question for you about you. When will we see the new miniatures for all the remaining aspect warriors? Thanks so much. I don't know, and I want them so much. I actually have my buddy Jason, Mr. Snigowski. He's painting up a bunch of new Eldar for me, and I've been waiting on all the new casts that I heard were coming. So I don't know, but I 100% want them. I want them so much.
Well, let's just say that they put a bunch of pictures in the codex of the old models. So when that's the case, who knows when they're going to be releasing the new ones? Do I think that they have them ready to go? 100%. I with all of the technology of the 3D renders and like the CADs and stuff that they can kind of create, like I doubt that they're not just ready. You know what I mean? I just don't know what their release schedule is. I
Yeah,
wish I could be like, hey, Games
100%.
Workshop, now please. I want new striking scorpions, and I want new swooping hawks, especially because I love the swooping hawks now, right?
And the thing is, I want new hawks so much because I've been using my scourges and stuff, because I just think they look cooler, for the hawks
Yeah.
because of that. We got a couple around here. Hello, cheers from France. Hello.
Oh, salut, mon ami. Ça va?
I want to get a bit more competitive. My two armies of love are BA and NID. Seems like Crusher Stampede is coming to an end. What would you advise? I mean, we've got a new book around the corner. I think that
Yeah.
you should just set up for NIDs. I would probably play Crusher Stampede until the NID Codex gets released, and it's released in just
Who
weeks,
knows when?
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
With the release of the them showing that off, it's not going to be too long. So
right. I mean, that book's good to go. But I would definitely see on that. The Marines aren't in the greatest spot right now. They're totally playable, but they're definitely not in a power spot. I would wait until they get themselves a couple buffs. How can Uthway players build a competitive list without spamming indirect? 2x3 or 3x3 Prap Mars? Doom Weavers seem the way to go with some Rangers. That is very, very strong because the spot roll that you can do. But
Guardians,
yeah,
Guardians, baby.
but you can do Uthway. You can. I'm telling you right now, playing Noah's Ark feels great to me. I am a very, both of us actually are play very MSU type armies, but there's so many good data sheets. What you're looking for is speed. You're going to need layers of direct. Like for instance, in my list, I have volume of AP nothing. I have a volume of AP 2, and then I have some very high AP 4. And so depending on what I want to go into, but I also have nothing tied into one. I don't, anything that's lost in my army isn't that big of a deal to me, but I think
Yep.
that you need, the thing is that the Eldar army, any of the Eldar armies, have just a ridiculous amount of speed. So I think you need to make a competitive, if you're looking for a competitive army, look for how do I score my secondaries? How can I score my primaries without just smashing into my opponent? Because you can
Yep.
always, there's always the option to crash into somebody and kill them. But if you're not doing that, that's really the strength of the Eldar in the first place.
I couldn't agree more, Brad. Like, and then with Uthway specifically, like you don't need to go Night Spinners, but like one of my favorite units is the big 20 strong Guardian blob. The range change for sure can catapults going from
So
12 to
big,
18 has made such an impact on how you can use that unit. And
especially
a
with battle
Doom
focus.
Right. Doomed, like not only battle focus, but like a doomed unit, right, with a discipline of the Black Guardians, and then the reroll ones to hit either because they're on an objective or you just use the stratagem on them. Like hitting on twos, rolling ones, exploding shuriken attacks, like then rerolling all wound rolls to like to spike on that shuriken AP or whatever. Like that unit still deletes anything it shoots that's doomed, whether it's a knight or whether it's like an infantry unit. They're really,
I do
really
like
good.
them striking in, so because of the 18
I bring
inches.
them in a webway gate.
Yeah.
I literally put them in, or strategic reserve them, put them in the webway gate. They come out and they're in the middle of the board, and they can literally shoot anything they want that's on
That's
an objective.
they have some serious play on that. So so what is the suggestion for new Eldari players like myself to buy the old miniatures or to wait? You're never going to go wrong with the old miniatures. It's just going to be if you want
So,
the new fancy stuff.
yeah,
So if you can get a cheap lot of things, especially if people are buying things, if you're a new player, I would recommend getting the most bang for your buck. Tell you the truth, that's how I
yeah.
did it for years and years when I got into different armies. Is you want to just get as many models as you possibly can. Period.
Like now, especially with if you want to build an army on the cheap, a lot of people would probably be selling their old Howling Banshees to buy new ones, right? But the old Howling Banshees are still ones you can use. So it really just depends on like what your thought process is there, right? Like, but at the same time, don't if you want to play a faction, you can't like if you just decide to wait for a model, you're probably going to be waiting for a long time. You have no idea when it's going to be coming out.
And
And
especially
that's
it's going to be short of, you're going to be short on
right.
stock because everybody wants the
Yeah,
new model. So I would buy
correct.
all of the
Yeah.
olds you can do. Guys, I do think the Crusher Stampede will probably be still around even with the new Nid book because, yeah, all the other like marine supplements and stuff like that did not make it so that you couldn't use any of the specific stuff that they had until you get a new one. I'm actually terrified of Crusher Stampede with some new data sheets for big monsters. I think it might be even better than it is right now. So,
Which is hard to fathom because it's
because
already
I would say
incredibly
because it's
silly.
really good, but they
Yeah.
have their tunits are no codex, so they have a lot of old, not as efficient data sheet. They just have really good stratagems because they get some of the old stratagems like that.
Yeah.
The webway gate is amazing. I'm so worried about how the webway gate's going to be ruled, Scary, in tournaments and with the FAQ.
I wish we could just clump them together like that forever, but knowing like people, I don't think it'll last,
Yeah,
which is a shame.
I'm just worried.
So
I'm just worried about that. I would,
we're just gonna have to take a piece of terrain out of our deployment zone to make sure it fits. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
because if I could put the webway gate in the middle, I would be bringing
Every
one
time.
in every single army. Yes,
Yep.
anything I
Now
make,
with play of place terrain though, it's a lot easier, right? So
100%.
yeah,
It's just obviously people are going to push stuff in the middle. They're going to try to block you off from putting it down if they get the first deployment, so they'll put their forward deploying unit. But still, putting it on either edge, either flank is not terrible. It's just the problem is what they're going to do. Rule it as far as terrain and everything else, especially with the set pieces. If you're playing GW terrain or any other set terrain, how am I allowed to do this? And if they don't allow me to move anything, it becomes a little bit more of a problem. I'm worried about it in the WTC, for instance, because they have all set tables, so I don't know
no,
exactly.
WTC just bans fortifications.
Oh, I
There's
forgot the
like a
bad
blanket
notifications,
ban
anyways.
of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fortifications. Yeah, yeah.
I
There's
forgot. I
just
always forget
yeah,
about that.
yeah. That's just a because they know that we will abuse the hell
A
out
lot
of
of
it.
it, and I've seen us do it.
It's funny. I recently did a bat rep on mini wargaming, and it went. I think it went. It's not a public one. It's like one of the vault ones. But I used a webway gate with the new craft world, and I placed it like really small, like totally competitive style. And I literally said as I was filming, "How many people do you want to bet are going to just comment about this webway gate?" And there you go. It's like so many comments on how that's not fluffy way to run a webway gate. I'm like,
Like sometimes you gotta
I
squish
have
them,
no shame.
and I want my stuff there. Give me some.
Exactly.
Give me how to live my life for this week. I'm finally, by the way, I'm staying home for a week for the first time
Yep.
in 3.5 weeks. So
Nice.
I can now actually coach, not trying to make a call while I'm in an airport
Driving
lobby.
or an
Yeah,
airport
yeah.
makes sense. That's my life, the story of my life. No, I'm going to a GT this weekend, which is going to be fun. First GT of the year for me, which is going
Nice.
to be really exciting. Other than that, for you, Brad, how to live your life is you need to practice some patience because Games Workshop will eventually release episode 2 of the Expedite.
I don't want to be patient, Scary. I don't want to be patient. But for everybody hanging out with us, I always appreciate it. Anything you guys want to talk about is literally fair game on 40K today. Just throw it out
Correct.
there. It could be lore stuff, it could be videos, it could be whatever we're talking about. Always feel free to throw it in. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. We just like to talk about stuff. So until the next time, thank you much,
Hi,
everybody.
everybody.